afternoon. I'm Sudiksha, and that is Elijah, and we're from Populus Advocatus. So basically, in essence, our solution is like a software which aims to help volunteers at PAP branches help low-wage workers with their legal issues more efficiently. So, but before we get into the finer details, let me just tell you a little bit of the background information on the project. So initially we wanted to help low-wage workers get legal aid, as we felt that not a lot of them were aware of their rights and schemes that applied to them. But then we realized that the current existing process of helping them is already quite inefficient. So if we felt that it would be better if we could solve this issue first before we encourage more of them to get help. So if you look at the next slide, this is the current process as to how low-wage workers get help. And as you can see, it's really long and super time-consuming. And moreover, there's a lot of changing hands. So, volunteers pass it to those in charge, and then it's like a back-and-forth process. So it's really complicated as well. So it's inefficient. And in the next slide, you can see some of the main things that we are trying to solve using our solution. So basically, we are trying to create an analytical tool so that it's not difficult to find the documents, so that when we change hands, it's more efficient as well. And the mapping allows us to link similar cases so that the volunteers who are new and who are looking at different cases can kind of learn from the prior cases and help the future workers better. And then lastly, tracking of cases. So when it helps us keep track of the different documents, the submissions, and anybody involved in the process can kind of access it at one go. So this is kind of like a visual representation of some of the problems and how the process is currently. And now I will allow Elijah to explain the solution to you. Thank you.
So our solution will start with digitizing the current information within the database. So we will convert all the cases into categorize all the cases manually, and we'll also profile all the residents that visit so that we can categorize their case history. The second thing that we'll do is that we also conduct petition writer assignments. So we'll profile all the volunteers who register to help. So including for example, their language. What are their language competencies, in speaking to the residents? We'll also create standardized petition forms for petition writing. So this will include details for things such as what facts and phone numbers to put down in the petition form, and which ministries to address the appeal letters to. And finally, we'll also have a reporting tool to conduct data mapping and tracking. So this will involve labeling all the cases, like for example, cases which come from a certain estate like Dakota, or maybe some government schemes like CPF. And you also will track, cases like the number of cases coming from certain estates and from certain, or being sent to certain ministries in a certain period of time. So next slide. So we'll start by converting all the existing registration process into a digital form. So we'll use Google Forms we'll basically put it on the tablet, and you'll sync it to the database so that we can send all the information to be collated. The information will then be grouped into categories. So there'll be some. So I'll be working with some volunteers to help classify the data into categories so as to provide information for the algorithm later on to work. Then after that, we'll be conducting a test of the database in which we will test out the program and see how effective it is in collecting all the data, and then pending further, and then consider possible expansion depending on the progress. So that's basically the summary of the previous slide. So next slide, please.
I'll need you to like wrap up in a bit because you're running.
So the measures of success basically is that we're going to produce a number of petition writing templates for at least 7 categories. There'll be 50 cases in each one. And then when we are testing out the application, we hope that at least 50 or more volunteers, which is half of the volunteer pool, will use the templates. We also hope that the average length of the petition writing will be shortened by 50% per appeal, and that greater than 50% of the residents who visit will be satisfied with the automated registration process. Next slide. So that's a summary of the benefits of the application. Next slide, please. And so our projected expenditure will be $25,000. So the Facebook ads is for generating awareness about the new process. For phase 1 there will be 1 software engineer, and then for phase 2 there will be 3 software engineers. And then for the Google Workspace, we have 5 accounts for the teammates and for the software engineers to share in developing the application. And then the legal and technological consultation will be pro bono. Next slide, please. So yeah, that are the roles and responsibilities. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for your pitching. Now the floor is open for the judges to ask questions.
I'm very happy about this project. I like anything that organizes information, and you're actually doing it in a way that will support the work of the volunteers who can do away with much admin work. So kudos for taking up this challenge. I really like it. I just have a question, and I saw that you actually had Mountbatten as your pilot site.
Yes.
So can I know roughly how many cases they have right now?
Currently, on average, it would be around 30 cases per session. So the MPS happens every week.
30 times 4, about 120 cases. So is that sufficient for your piloting? Because you mentioned you wanted 50 letters, right? Per category?
Yeah, 50. Those are the writing templates for which to send, for sending information to us. So we basically will compile, because there are many sessions throughout the year. So I think we'll focus on looking at all the cases for 2021. And then we will and then from there we will then analyze and then put them together, and after that look through the content, and then discuss suggestions on what are the most important things to write, and then we'll put it inside the template.
Yeah, so maybe you can rank them by the frequency occurrence first, then you can tackle those templates first. Can I learn more about your backgrounds? Are your because you were going to hire for software engineers, so I assume that you guys are not software engineers?
One of my teammates on there is a software engineer, but we'll probably hire a few more. Yeah.
So your role in this would be?
Yes, so your proposal is certainly quite well thought through. Can you maybe explain a bit further, how does it specifically help low-wage workers? Residents go to MPS for a variety of very wide-ranging issues, right? From town council to leaking taps, to noisy neighbors, to parking fines, including low-wage workers, certainly. So how does this proposal purport to address the needs of low-wage workers specifically?
So after we classify all the information in the database, it will be sent out to the PAP HQ for ground sensing. So because some of the residents who visit the MPS are low-wage workers, we can then gain a better appreciation of what are the issues which is trending at this particular period of time, then that way it can be used for formulating policy or discussions later on.
I think our main aim with the application is to kind of cut down on the time that it takes to get things done so that we can help them more efficiently, because a lot of the processes take really long, and so we feel that if they do take this long, then we're not really helping them when it's most significant. So if we can cut down the time, then volunteers can also help more workers at the same time, so that they don't need to give so much of their attention to one worker. So that is one main thing. And since a lot of it is digitalized, it's not so necessary that they do it on the spot itself. It can be over discussions online as well. And yeah, that's kind of our aim as well. I hope that answers your question.
I really like cataloging, and I'm thinking that after this pilot is done, maybe you can also reach out to the NGOs, the SSAs and stuff like that, because they would also have a lot of different case studies, and maybe they could benefit from the cataloging as well. Same principle as what you are trying to achieve.
Okay, thank you.